Doctor, I think Randi has laid out essentially the fact that, everybody wants kids to go back to school and have that in-person learning experience, but they can't do that unless it's actually safe. And funding needs to go to putting in place the scientific protocols. What would those scientific protocols look like? Like, what is the funding going towards, in your view, should it go towards, in your view, to make schools safe in order to reopen?
I think Randi laid it out really nicely. You have to, she took the example of the Cambridge Friends School. This is a school in Cambridge that has put in layers that will protect students. So, the simplest layer, of course, is wearing masks. That's easy. That's low-hanging fruit. But the other pieces are, having people enter classes in certain ways so that they're not seeing each other. So administrative controls. Another layer, of course, is fixing the HVAC. So the air exchange, so that you have enough air exchanges with clean air. And then they've actually put in a technology that's upper room germicidal lighting. It sounds really fancy, but it was actually first used in schools. In fact, it was used in a friend's school in Philadelphia in 1937. So it's just, very low beam UV light up in the upper part of the room, doesn't really affect anyone, doesn't cause any problems, and it kills bacteria. So they have all of these layers in place. And when you have those kind of layers in place, especially the UV lights plus the air exchange, you get the equivalent of 20 air exchanges per hour because you're killing germs and you're moving air around. The teachers are safe and the students are safe. And this can be done for a cost. It's not inconsequential, but it's somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000 a school. So when you start to think that we've spent trillions of dollars on locking down and other things, you can start to say, well, why don't we invest in making the public space safe? Why don't we invest in these layers? So targeted testing, PPE, HVAC, and of course, UV germicidal lighting. And then the last layer, of course, is a vaccine, which will probably provide another 40 or 50% of benefit. Last time, Zerlina, you had me on your show, it was quite fun because the president was leaving the hospital to return to the White House. And I think at that moment, we realized that the White House was an unsafe place to work. And so when you start to realize that we need to make public spaces safe, schools are extremely important because nobody else can return to work until their kids can go to school. But we also have to be making businesses safe and the Starbucks safe and the local grocery store. And these exact layers and investments in making it better are exactly what we need.
I always thought that the conversation about reopening the economy was backwards. I was like, don't you have to reopen the school safely first so the parents can actually go back to work? Because if the schools aren't open and the businesses are open, the parents can't, you know what I mean? Like, who's watching the kids was my point. Who's watching the kids? Randi Weingarten, Dr. Salmaan Keshavjee, thank you for breaking this down for us. It was very, very helpful. That does it for this hour. I'm Zerlina Maxwell. The Mehdi Hasan Show is coming up after a short break right here on Peacock.